stay. But if you love something, let it go. Tomorrow comes, it's another day. So if you love something, let it go. No, I don't mind you asking why I let it go. It's just way too much for my heartbeat, so I'm laying low.
Back. We know you haven't gone too far. You're sticking with us for all the action. We're here in Limerick for EUC 2023. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, delighted to be joined with the local himself, Lorcan Murray, and we've got open round quarterfinals elimination between the Italians and the French. This one sure to be a zinger. The French took that spot early, and the Italians had to fight through the back door and win a pre-quarter to get here. They did that this morning. Lorcan, thoughts on these two powerhouses going at it?
Indeed they did. The Italians having to take that long route, the circuitous path. But is that losing to Great Britain, but giving them one of their closest games of the tournament so far, as well as a very tight win over Switzerland and another close last to Belgium. Certainly very much up and about it with the best of the best. Their game earlier today streamed on this very field was a 15. Italy's game earlier today in the pre-quarter, streamed on this very field, was a 15-11 victory over the Irish. The Irish pushed them about as far as they could, but the Italians were always just that little bit further ahead, Steph. Whereas on the other side, the French have been very impressive in their preparation for this, the bracket stages, the important stages. Some standout players for the French. Elliot Bonnet, I think everybody was expecting that man to deliver, as well as Quentin Roger, who has been a stellar player for France for many years, and Lucas Bouchon. So expect those to be big players for this French side as they head into a crucial knockout game here against the Italians.
Oh, it's all lined up. The French just came off the field from the game before, taking the mixed round, the mixed team going to the semis. The open side would love to do their part, but these Italians, they're not going to make it easy.
Ruining my bracket as well, by the way.
Oh, my bracket is absolute trash. I will tell you that in all three divisions, I am nowhere near what this bracket actually looks like.
And it just goes to show you how it is impossible to predict what happens on the day on the pitch here at EUC 2023, brought to you by the beautiful University of Limerick Sporting Campus, Eurodisc, Force Ultimate, and Tokay Cleats. Here we go.
Underway. Ben Vignen puts a hat on this time to cover up his peroxided head as Herbretot takes a big gainer. Speaking of peroxided head, Lièvre goes to Cheré. He picks up, not quite in yet, on the goal line as he went down looking for a reset. Nothing in the upfield space, goes back to Ben Vignen. He breaks and Lièvre loses his feet and goes down. And and the French kind of stand there looking at each other. Which one of us made that go wrong?
I think gravity and nature are going to have to take credit for that particular turnover, as the French looking very comfortable against that initial Italian zone, working the near sideline, but then getting worked by the physical manifestation of friction.
The comfort was there, but not comfortable enough to cash in a clean hold. The Italians will get the first chance to break in this game. Tognetti, the man known as Pingu, throws to Laffy, and there's some traffic coming. Low throw continuation, Fumagalli. Laffy goes to Tognetti. The upfield look, he winds up, puts it, Santucci on the chase. Santucci puts the toe down, not quite in, but what a play. Throws the hammer, Fumagalli. What are you talking about here? Santucci making plays for the break.
Always send it to Chopo. It's a simple rule, and one that I think all teams should follow. You saw he was just in the deep space trying to set up that cut. He faked deep once, he came back under, he went deep. Immediately again as the opportunity came on, he is a lethal threat with an athletic grab. As we have another look at this setup, Newt Pingu shoots deep, and then Santucci with a fantastic grab. And wondering, was that cool enough for the opening point? How about I add a little hammer on top?
And practically a blammer. I mean, that one was very, very blady. A sensational throw, especially with no hesitation. I mean, if that's just what like instinctually comes from Chopo, that speaks a lot about his free-flowing play.
So the Italian D-line with them going up against a French match defense and able to use full advantage of their athletes. That is going to be an exciting matchup downfield all game long. But I have to say, wasn't that impressed with the Italian zone. It took a French miscommunication and then a fortuitous slip for them to get the turn.
Second time for the French. If you've been following all tournament long, you know that the French run balanced lines, no O&D, so this is simply their second line out on the pitch. Mate goes to Petitot. Now back to Kais Mate. Pierre-Louis Combray to Lucas Bouchon. And Combray again to Ravo. Bouchon. He goes wide to Mate and all the way to the near sideline for Petitot. Mate. Bouchon throws a hammer. And Combray looks upfield. Bouchon back to Combray and return. Those two teammates from the Is No Good campaign. Ravo. Bouchon to Ravo. And now a travel called as Bouchon tries to step backwards in motion.
A good flowing play by the French so far.
Ravo. Back to Bouchon. Puts a scuba to Monuz. Now back. Combray. And Bouchon with a handy move. A travel called, but that time I'm not sure. I think it was a bit of an upper body shimmy. The first time, definitely. That one a little less certain. Sidelines getting hyped up right now. Very involved in the early stages of this game. Italy with a first point break, and France trying desperately now to get the hold. Ravo. Now backwards again. The Italian zone looking a little tougher this time around. Bouchon directing traffic, asking for Mate to leave the space. Crash comes into it. Roger scoops across to Petitot and now into the hands of Bouchon. Petitot again. Bouchon asking for it, but wide side is the better option to Mate. Kais Mate. Surveying options, the Italian zone bending but not breaking. And there is a foul accepted.
Something I really like about this Italian zone is you are able to swing against it, but the people who are in the second level do a great job of face marking and covering off cutters in the mid space and stopping the continuation.
That floaty one handled by Bouchon. Now to Petito. Roger. Goes back to Petito. And now into the hands of Bouchon. Hammer to Combray, and it works. The French stay cool, and they put one on the board, but they had to work for it.
I believe I noticed an assassin in the form of Martini on Roger, trying to avoid the stalwart for this French team, so frequently a spark plug for them from getting too comfortable with the disc, or indeed getting the disc too frequently. But in the end, they're able to just take their time, work their way through it, and get the score. And I think as long as they don't rush, they'll be able to work their way past the Italian zone throughout this game.
Yeah, good eye on that one, Lorcan. Spotting the assassination.
So we're going to get our first look at the Italian O-line, and it has been an effective one so far throughout this tournament, though at times the first half has not been their friend. They've given up a number of breaks in critical games, the D-line pulling them back into it. So it will be interesting to see how they have leveled off and how much that first half performance, which was very impressive against the Irish, stands to them here in the afternoon.
Kopi lets that one hit the ground and rolls. Eventually picked up. Now Zani to Girotto. Dump back. Zani gets Contini. Contini to Kopi. Kopi gets the inside and Roger breaks it up. French need a break to get back onto level peggins, and that one given straight back to the Italians. Zani then goes for it all. Gasparini miles ahead, but Robles caught up with incredible closing speed.
No, the Italians are not afraid of boosting it when the opportunity arises, and sometimes trying to force that opportunity into existence with some of the shots, and the Robles is not a man you want to give a 50-50 chance to.
He shows you exactly why there. If it hangs,
he's gonna bang.
If it hangs, he will bang. And he is hands on knees. He's calling a injury, but still assessing what's wrong before he slowly walks off to the sideline. It will be Crash Canton Roger who comes in to replace. And I'm not sure if the Italians will reciprocate the substitution, but not yet by the looks of things. Back into play. The Italians maintain their lineup that started the possession. This, another break chance for the French. Roger goes to Ruyard. Ruyard jacks it, has Delal, but Gasparini in front, and he gets it back.
People are really enjoying throwing deep shots into congestion right now. Can't say I agree with that decision.
No, easy to disagree with. Tognetti into the dump space. Pavan with Bonnet on the chase. That is a nice matchup to watch. Gasparini looks upfield. Girotto gives him a cross. Roger has a bit at it. That's Axel while they're both out there. Zani now to Girotto. Girotto to Tognetti. Tognetti goes inside. Contini can't handle. And the French get their third break chance of just this point. Elio Bonnet thought about putting it, but put it away and took Roger Axel on the under. Wide and around. Bonnet collects. Bonnet goes to Roger. That's Quentin Roger. He jacks it. Stangenic's there. Well handled. A foot out of bounds, or foot out from the goal. Roger comes charging. Stangenic again. Squeezes it in. And the French manage to break back. They take the lead, and we're back on serve.
That is probably one of the more casual grabs at a high difficulty level that I've ever seen. Leo Stanguinek was able to just take down a spicy disc and swallowed it like he's been eating food like that all his life. Incredible composure, and then able to get the quick pop. So we're going to have another look. It was a nice dump pass to get off. Those things are deceptively difficult to throw, especially when you're under a lot of pressure. And you expect a D-line to take some risky shots, and even this one, while it came off, is far from a sure thing. An absolutely incredible grab by Leo. And then enough composure to just wait until the support arrives and they get the scoop in. So France on a bit of a redemption tour. They got bronze in 2015, Steph, but then a considerable fall from grace to 14th in 2019.
Yeah, an abysmal campaign for them the last time. There were a lot of player personnel that were pointing fingers and unhappy with members of other clubs, and the French program needed to rebuild from the beginning. Laffi and the Italians now. Trombetti. Trombetti to Gasperini. Inside to Pavan. Now a throw to center, and again to Girotto. Zani, continuation. Back to center, the big man, Pavan. Known as Chicho. He leads to Zani. Zani looked to go inside to Laffi. Now goes inside to Pavan. Pavan leads a high one. Trombetti there. Herbretot had a sniff at it, but Trombetti cleans it up. Now Zani still, yes, that is it. He did put the foot down. And Trombetti to Zani is the scoring sequence. And the Italians tie things back up.
Pavan showing off his throwing prowess with that shot. Although, like you say, Herbretot was right in the region and was almost able to steal it away. Trombetti even to the challenge on that particular instance. So good work attacking the break side by the Italians to keep the French defense on their toes. As we have another quick look, it's those little inside dishes gobbled up by Trombetti in that instance that will stop the French from being able to really collapse down on the Italians, something we've seen them do to great effect earlier in the tournament, using their athleticism to really pressure teams into a lot of suffocating positions. You need to give your teammates room to breathe, and the best way to do that is by attacking the break side with your throws.
Lorcan's keys to victory: attack that break side, change the angles, and get the quick open look. Let's see if they put this one into play, Lork.
Dark side Lorcan's keys to victory: just keep boosting it.
One of the two is bound to work. Do you have enough time to throw them both to the wall and find out which one sticks?
Well, the French got back on serve with the previous break point and are now right back into that driver's seat in this game.
And Bouchon, I talked about him the other day saying, well, I'm not sure he really does hang in the handler space, but that's very clearly his role here with the French team after watching a few games by the French Open team now. And he continues to be in the reset space, flips over top to Petitot, and right back to Lucas Bouchon. Bouchon to Petitot. And he goes to Monuz. Bouchon. Scoop over top. The Italian zone is being sliced up. Monuz. Now the gainer, Ravo. Ravo looks to end zone. Has Bouchon again in the dump space. Bouchon goes to Mate. Inside, finds Petitot. There's a shot for goal. Roger can't get there. I think he was trying to walk himself in a bit too much instead of just get the completion.
Walked himself away from possession on that instance.
That's exactly what the result ended up being. Now De Cristofaro has different headwear every event. This time the backwards cap, and he gets another one. Inside, Merlini to Balducci. Now Gatti goes forward, Gialdini gets a bump. Balducci. Spinning around, almost a hand on it for Manuz. There's a throw to Merlini. And now Gialdini, the Italians, continuing to make completions, and we've got, is it a pick, Lork? Not.
I feel like they're just calling a little bit of unfair contact. And I believe Galdini has in fact called a timeout. It's the Italians hoping to take advantage and get another break. We've had 2 scores apiece for each team, so the score is 2-2 with both sides' offensive and defensive lines getting goals.
Well, that's a timeout on the field. We're going to take a short break too, and we'll be back with action after these words. Yes, he will. We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc. What a grab! Oh my, somehow they do it! So, 2 apiece, timeout on the field. The Italians maintain possession with a chance to break.
Something I always love when people come out of these timeouts is looking at how the defense sets themselves up. You can see the face mark on the front of the stack from Bouchon as he's expecting the isolation, as I think everybody would when there's that much space around. But the Italians have actually spread out a 3 horizontal on the back of the end zone. So if that isolation doesn't work out, expect a cut to come from those corners to try and match with the dump cut and then immediately hit a front corner from there.
And they've gone immediately to Gatti. Now Venturoli comes from the isolated position. Venturoli throws, but De Cristofaro lost his footing, and he says it's because of the contact between him and Ravo.
In my opinion, he lost his footing going in the wrong direction to the throw anyway, so it's an irrelevant foul. You can see the miscommunication. He expected the cut to come to that front corner. Cristofaro pulled out of it as if to move back, at which point contact was engaged. But if you get fouled while running away from the disc.
Here's another look, but
so you can see Cristofaro is expected to make that cut. Okay, you know what? Actually, take it back. On that one, it looks like it was a fake that he got tripped on, and he was going to try and return to the space.
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's got a point there, but I still think he cut through the French player that was in that space. He cut through Ravo.
We got a couple of French supporters, players, coach, doing the classic highlight hunch in front of our TV.
There is contact there, for sure. The Italian player did De Cristofaro did turn and tried to cut through Ravo. Ravo was in that space. It's a tough one to discern.
It's a hard call when you foul someone while not looking at them.
That a very good way to clarify, Lorcan. And just like that, they do put it on the board after a lengthy discussion, a very short sequence to follow. And the Italians maintain the lead, and they're up 3-2 with that one.
And as they go up 3-2, we have our second lead change of the game. The Italians opened with a break. The French responded with a hold and a break, and the Italians have just responded right back with a hold and a break of their own. Speaks to just how tight this game is going to be. But the Italian offense looked a lot cleaner earlier on today than it does right now.
Yeah, for sure. The Italians this morning against the Irish went the first half with one turn from their O-line and a couple more in the second half, but they are not playing to that standard quite yet. Well, their O-line's only been on the field one time, and they are turn free. But it's their D-lines that have been I'm sorry, when they did get broken, they did have their O-line on the field for a 3-turn sequence. So, yes, they've turned more times in 1 point than they did the whole first half.
And something that would concern me if I was Italian is the fact that the French turns, two of their key ones, have been end zone miscommunications or small execution errors, whereas the Italian turns have been seemingly almost all direct as a direct result of French pressure.
Michotte brings it to the line. And he goes upfield. Bonnet keeps it off the turf. Then he goes deep. Delal on the chase. That looks good. Not quite in. Delal looks to Stangenik. Then has a wide open Roger in the follow-up. And the French respond cleanly and quickly.
Incredible offensive possession. They sucked in that Italian zone entirely to the near side, opened up a huge space on the far sideline. I think the Italians were almost daring them to throw it that way, but he who dares wins, and the French showing exactly what they came here to do with that visionary shot.
Yeah, visionary throw. The second look coming here. That's Delal spinning around after the fact. And you see Axel Roger doing all the squirrely stuff he does best, churning up the grass in the small space. That time, really just one short cut, but became a wide open trailer when the other two got picked up.
And something I really like there is Quentin Roger, who'd been on for the last two offensive points and had been assassinated by design by the Italians, was not on for that point, and as a result they were able to split the deep further downfield. I did like Quentin Roger's response to being assassinated, which is to go further deep into the field and allow less Italian defenders in the region of the disc and try to work it through there. But with his entire absence off the pitch, they play a more honest version of the Italian zone, and the more classic approach of splitting that deep worked a lot more effectively.
Girotto gets the underneath. Gasperini. Trombetti. Trombetti comes to Contini. Contini gets a big gainer. It's Gasperini. Playing out of the middle of the field. Now goes backwards to Girotto. Using the dump space, Girotto engages Zani, who cuts up line. Prior Martin takes a swipe at it. Valentini with the next pass, and backwards again to Zani in the snood. Zani goes forward. Gasperini on the doorstep. Continuation to Girotto, and the Italians look clean and tidy this time.
I'm a simple man. I like simple things. And if you're going to set up an end zone offense that is a 2-5 stack with an isolation on the front of that stack, I'm going to enjoy it. excellent work working with the isolation and then getting the continuation cut rather than relying on a dump cut or an up the line, which can be a little easier to poach off to from the stack. They immediately go to the second in the stack, who times it to absolute perfection for the clean hold and score by the Italians. And for me, that's the best they've looked all game.
Yeah, I agree completely there. Their tidiest version of their offensive selves. And they are dictating the pace. The theoretic underdogs, they had to come through the pre-quarter. It was the French who got the bye because of their better record through the round robins, but it's the Italians who have the early advantage in this contest with 2 breaks.
The French very impressive in many outings. Their last 2 games, their power pool, were 15-7 victories over Sweden and Spain respectively. Spain currently in our other streamed quarterfinal game against Belgium, which you can view, brought to you live, wild and free, courtesy of ULTI.TV.
Luca Bouchon gets again. The Italian zone back on. Kais Mate.
Roger back on the field as well. This time the assassin is taking the form of Balducci. And Roger is hanging in the deep space, which means that the French are going to have to work this between their handlers and try and attack immediately. But I don't really like that position, because what he's effectively doing is shortening the midfield and not allowing some over-the-top throws, which are really effective at a 3-person front on this kind of a zone.
Let's see how the French continue to use Roger in this assassination situation. Well caught, Lorcan. Petitot now. Monuz. Theoretically, if Roger isn't getting any touches, should be an easier zone. It becomes a 6-on-6 game in the same space. Let's see how they use it. Bouchon to Petitot. We saw a big hammer down. Ravo to Monuz. Not quite in. There's the wide swing. Combray collects. It's 4 apiece. And another hold for the French.
Fantastic approach by the French. A lot of zigzagging, short field game to go right through the jaws of the zone before the 2 slightly deeper there, the wings-ish kind of position in a 3-2-1 with the assassination, as it would be, I think, traditionally the 3-3-1 or 3-2-2. But in that option, they're just getting those little pops. The handlers are able to sprint up, catch, and then throw the rest of the way through. As you can see right there, that's exactly what they're going for. Not all of these passes are particularly easy, but what they allow them to do is then once you catch it, set up effectively a Luke Skywalker drill, is what they called it as I was coming up. That classic drill of you're trying to throw to another person, you have a mark on you, and that's just how you do it. It's a fundamental matter, and here at the highest level, it's going to be the fundamentals that separate these 2 teams.
The fundamentals always in play at every elite level. They are almost the matters of separation when tactics can negate each other, athleticism can negate each other. The fundamentals are really the limitation of errors, just the same, and doing those easy things right. A offside called on the pull. The Italians happy to take it at the brick mark.
Going with a traditional horizontal stack, nothing fancy, but just an awful lot of running and clearing space for each other.
Girotto to Gasperini. Gus, as he's known to Pavan. Now a leading throw, great throw to Martelli. Contini gets on the inbound. Then to Pavan, he's looking at the end zone. Hassani, and Italy, clean hold again.
The Zippy Zani for the score, finishing off what was a beautiful flowing play by the Italians. They set up in that horizontal stack, and so frequently you see teams get a little bit confused or they clog each other. But every single first move by a cutter downfield in the open space was to get the hell out of the way. And that is crucial when you're playing in 3-4. The first move was always to generate space. Then once they get into the end zone, it's one person, one man, one cut up the line. As you can just see this quick procession. First of all, collected very nicely by Pavan and thrown in for Zani.
Italians holding their calm. I think they gained a lot of confidence over the course of the tournament. Took a tough loss to Belgium 2 days ago, and or was that even yesterday? That was yesterday, the loss to Belgium. Indeed, there's another look, 13-15, but they said that still gave them confidence, being able to swing with Belgium. Talking to Santucci, says, that's a game we do got to be damn near perfect. We got to be close to our best, but if we are, we can beat that team. And I think, they probably expect France to be not quite as good as Belgium. And I think since their win this morning, they beat Ireland convincing enough, and they're feeling it right now. Back in play, Herbreto to Prior Martin. Prior Martin leads inside to Ben Vignen. He's gone deep. Giffard on the chase. Not sure he had to go down, but did to ensure and put two hands on that and made no doubt about it. Giffard with a goal for the French. It's 5 apiece, Lork.
The French saying anything you can do, we can do better. Right now we are seeing cleanliness, which is next to godliness, and this is some high-powered ultimate we are watching right now. Just pulling off all of the basics so effectively, clearing space for each other. They know they've got great throwers, but they like to make it easy for them anyway, even against this very athletic Italian defense. They are comfortable as you like right now. So 5-5, but important to bear in mind, they did start the game on offense, so they're currently a break down as the Italians 3 points away from cashing in that advantage.
Yeah, and of course, the moment of cashing, 3 points away, as Lorcan says, that's getting to halftime, and it really feels like the cashing coming out of the half. So if they can trade their way in, that advantage is going to extend in the second half.
So we saw a good number of turns in the opening few points, including that rather long point with 5 turnovers before the French were able to pop it in for the 2-1 advantage. The last 4 points, no turns at all, and about 60 passes between the two teams. So they're starting to feel themselves out there, Steph.
Indeed they are. Gasperini gets Trombetti. Trombetti goes inside and has Pavan. Foul indicated. And the upfield cutters will move back. I think it was between Gasperini and Combre there. Now Pavan goes to Gasperini. Girotto gives him a cut, but he looks back away. Goes to Zani, chiseling forward. Zani. Back to Girotto. Tight mark by Petitot. Girotto, high stall count, goes around the mark with the offhand. Now Pavan shoots. Valentini. Meters away. Gasperini looking to the end zone. Girotto goes the other way and gets Valentini. And the Italians do it again.
They're doing such a good job of not clogging their options when they get into the red zone, so frequently able to isolate players and not have to look at a mass of white shirts. Gasperini, who was absolutely massive in that Belgium game with, I believe, 2 assists and 3 goals, showing just how crucial he is to this Italian offense. But you've really got to give credit to the whole team. They are fighting their, shall we say, adrenaline instincts, that urge to just run and be involved. When they get down to the end zone, they are taking their time. They are trusting their players. So you see Pavan opened it up with that pass. Valentini has it, centers it back into the middle, and then rather than lots of players filtering through, they just set up a simple isolation. It makes that fake legitimate, which makes that break slightly easier, and that score a significant one for Italy, 6-5.
What a game we're having here. First half, the virtuous underdogs out in front dictating the pace are the Italians, but I'm sure they don't feel one slight bit the underdogs going into this contest.
Well, right now it is the French who have been bit, and it is a little bit worse than the famous Italian bark, as these underdogs are 6-5 up and look to be in a pretty commanding position. If they continue to trade like this, we'll be seeing Forza Italia in the semifinals.
Goodness gracious, wouldn't that be a story? Any which way you slice it. Roger to Bonnet. Bonnet fakes the big, looks back to center. Upline comes from Roble. The feed goes back to Stangetic in the middle. Stangetic, ooh, and Delal needed a play in front of Venturoli there, and he made it. Now he gets Axel Roger. Roger faked the big, goes back to Roble. Roble looks to Axel Roger. Cheeky little throw there on the blind side of Gialdini. Now to Stangetic. Stangetic wide inside Abita. And Abita throws right into the back of Gialdini.
I like that switch to match defense by the Italians. They think, all right, they've worked out our zone. It hasn't been putting them under any pressure since the first few points. Something that we've seen repeated with people going up against the Italian zone. It can stymie you for a while. Once you work out your way around it, it's suddenly the lack of pressure on the handlers isn't as relevant. The Italians recognizing a lot earlier than they have in other games and switching to the match defense.
Tognetti goes to Gialdini. Gialdini looking for answers, finds Tognetti again. Tognetti, sporting that dashing mustache, has noticed every time he's played. Venturoli. Balducci fakes the wide side. The Costa Rica Grandes representative, one of many on this squad. Tognetti catches and immediate timeout called. They want to talk about it.
Well, it's a big moment, and there's plenty to discuss. The first thing being, everybody calm down. The normally clean, or certainly maybe not normally, but the previously very clean Italian offense looked a little bit clogged right there. So I like this. You call the timeout. You give yourself a chance to set up slightly outside of the red zone, shall we say. It's just in front of the brick mark. But if they could set up a similar form to the last one, we could see them punch in this break and push their lead up to 7-5.
We're going to take a timeout. Well, they're going to take a timeout. We're going to take a break with them. We'll be back after these words.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Tognetti after the timeout looks upfield. What do we see in the set? It looks like
It's that same offensive set again, so you can expect the isolation cut and then looking for a continuation.
Balducci instead initiates from the flanked handler space. He throws forward. Beautiful little throw there. Fumagalli gets it into Gialdini. The Italians break again and are controlling this first half.
Yeah, I really like that 3-1-3 approach. And so frequently they turn down, well, both times you've seen it, they turn down that initial cut by the isolation, knowing that the French are going to focus entirely on it. What they do so fantastically is that isolation cutter doesn't then think it's all on me. They recognize they've got that one window, and once the dump is engaged, they clear out, and somebody else comes in from that back horizontal stack. And normally once you've had to recycle a handful of times like the Italians did there, it becomes very stylish stymied, very stagnant, but the Italians are doing such a good job of recognizing where the disc is moving to, and I mean they're cutters, recognize where the disc is moving to on the handler's side and making sure that when they look up, all they see is someone running into that space and not a collection of people waiting there. As we see, this is a delicate as they get set up, and looking downfield, it's just a cutter attacking the space and no one occupying him.
So 7-5. The Italians will get the disc to start the second half.
And you really have to take note of just how varied the Italians have been in collecting those assists. Gorini, Fumagalli, Gasparini, Santucci, Trombetti, Venturoli all have an assist. A couple of people have 2 goals, including Zani, who has no assists. So it just shows how versatile this Italian team is and how they can come at you through continuous wave after wave of pressure. And it is such a testament to the incredible job they are doing clearing space for each other. And I just think that we have to give a shout out to Andrea Temporin for the brilliant job he's done training these guys all season long.
Excellent work by these Italians. Not one thing to shut down, but try and break their system. Herbreto goes backwards to Chevalier. Herbreto gets another look. And Chevalier, they look at this Italian zone that has been improving all week long and is working at its peak performance right now.
So this is a slight variation on the zones we saw earlier. Now there's 4 defenders occupying that handler space, as opposed to they're leaving 3 and having 2 back. And that's a consequence of them being able to turn off that assassination and go with a bit more of a traditional arrowhead. There's the line trap aspect of it.
As the French continue to go south. We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it! Come on, Bray!
8-5 the score. French coming out on defense. They've got their work cut out for them. If they're going to make a game of this in the second half, the Italians looking the part in the first half. A Italian squad that is not just their predominant club team, La Fotta. They have got players from all over the country, stretching from Bergamo to Rimini to many other stretches. Of course, Padova with the man with the disc right now, Girotto. Oh, a big bid by El Breton, and they're going to need all of that bidding. Bonnet coming now, breathing down the neck of Pavard, but he overcommitted, and Pavard sent it to Gasparini. Oh, goodness, he was close, but not quite able to get there.
Gasparini catching the breath in all of our throats with that play. Damn near taking flight to try and rescue possession. So the French get the opportunity they needed. Can they cash it in?
I've just had a piece of broken Nalgene water bottle put onto the desk. This was from the Quentin Roger show of disgust, throwing his down. He broke his water bottle before the half ended, and now he initiates this play going to El Breton. Oh, and El Breton throws right into Zani. This could spell disaster. This is a chance to hold, but the French were given a glorious opportunity to make good, and they gave it straight back.
I like that matchup of Roger and Coppi. Coppi has been so central to so much success on the offensive side. He's a steadying presence for Italian teams, for La Fotta as well, and he has been for many years.
Coppi fakes the backhand, now goes to center. Trombetti goes to Girotto, straight back into Trombetti. Wide, quick, Girotto puts the toe down, and the Italians are jacked.
You can understand why France looked like they had an opportunity to get a break back, and for the Italians to immediately blow it up and steal possession right outside of the end zone, finish it off with some rather messy close quarters cutting, but to finish it off is crucial. 9-5, a significant lead, and right now this game might be looking like a bit of a shipwreck, so the French are going to have to find a way to sing in the lifeboats and try and get some spirit back into this matchup.
Oh, 9-5, what a way to make a living. The French are going to need some more than just Dolly Parton lyrics as we rewatch this replay. And the Italian counterattack is just ruthless. No fear throwing into a corner with 3 French defenders there.
Taking that pass just because they can. That's an awful lot of pressure. That's an awful lot of people.
Girotto there with the goal scorer, the ambidextrous player, often forgotten when you compare to some of the great ambidextrous players in the continent, like Crash Roger. Those two were covering each other there, and Girotto does it, well, maybe not just as well, but damn near as well. And he's doing it for Italy right now, and that lefty catch is putting France in a very sticky situation. Luca Bouchon brings the disc to the mark and throws to Kais Mate. Pop pass back. And the two continue to throw back and forth. Benvenien to Bouchon. Bouchon to Petitot. And back to Kais Mate. Bouchon faked the pop pass around. And now Manu's on the far side. The Italian defense continues to stifle.
And I really don't like what Roger is doing. Balducci is once again assassinating him, and he's just sitting in the center space, which is limiting your options to send scoobers over the top of the front 3. The French are going to have to find a way to jump through the cup and find shots like that down the line.
That's a beautiful throw to Crash. Pops it into Mate. And the French needed that badly. Thank goodness for them, they got it.
9-6, so still an awful lot of work ahead of them, but good offensive patience, waiting for the shots to become available, recycling, swinging around until they can get that quick pop through the front of the zone. So frequently when you're coming up against arrowheads or walls or cups, whatever is designed to almost stand off just a little bit of the handler and stop downfield gains, you come from behind the handler, catch it in stride, jump level 2 or straight up past the zone, the front markers, and then you have these kind of options. As you can see, exactly that. There's the quick pop. They get it back, and they have the option to throw it all the way around and down the line.
Roger with the finish off, the chisel cut that Lorcan's talking about, coming from behind and chiseling ahead. The French looked good enough there. You see
so the French sticking with match defense and trying to force the Italians under for the most part.
now Girotto gets the disc. Contini goes up line to Gasperini. Gasperini shoots. Valentini on the chase. Bonnet on defense. Neither can get there. The bid falls short.
I'll tell you, I really like the way they set up that deep shot, though, coming from this near sideline while the play was on the opposite sideline. I'm sure all the coaches watching will be saying to their teammates, that's where the deep cut should come from, the opposite sideline. But that throw just hit dirt a little bit too early.
Sullivan Roblet to pick up the disc. And he's going to walk it to the line to meet Zani. This could be a big chance to break. The French cannot afford to squander another. Delal. Chéret. Giffard came under, and that throw to Abida is not going to work. There is players waiting, though, from the very first throw.
While they resolve that conversation about whether or not the disc will go back, there was a travel called, and it did cause a couple of players to stop moving, which would send that disc back. Great heads-up play by Zani to peel off this deep shot. More of a leading pass, really, but Zani recognized what was going on and got his hand in there to disrupt the play.
The young man, Leo Chéret, who threw that, has been having a great tournament, but in that instance looked off a very clean open shot to Giffard in favor of the deep one that got broken up. He's lucky that there was a travel before it, and maybe unlucky. Now it's being said that the travel is inconsequential and the turnover stands. It's in the hands of Contini. Contini goes to Brunelli. Contini, high stall count goes backwards to Zani. Zani looking for Brunelli, throws wide. Roblet knocks it away, and now a very short field chance for a break. Roblet calls the timeout. I don't know if I love it, but they are at least making sure that this is a precious possession.
And the French attempts to continue to push the Italians under and clog that space immediately in front of the handlers coming to the good, making those reset passes more and more difficult.
Yeah, they are getting more difficult. Here's another look at that play by Roblet. A beautiful defense. They're going to take their time and think about this and make it as precious as possible coming out. You are precious back home, too. Do the right thing. Like, subscribe, become a patron. We love you. Give us some of that love back. We'll see you after this timeout.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Back in action out of the timeout. Robles sets up on the sideline. His team in a clean vertical stack with Delal and Abita isolated in flank space and front of stack space.
What I find a little curious is there isn't a pinch. Normally you like to see some kind of pinch where you can't move by the defense, but right now they're all setting up, really committing to that open side. So a swing, let's see the French get in.
Robles swings to center. Delal shoots for Bonnet. Drags the toe, and they're going to talk about it. Not in. They want to just play. No, let's have another opinion. What do you think? What do you think? And they just celebrate. Anticlimactic, but that is a break. That is plenty of reason to celebrate for the French right now. They're second of the game, first of the second half.
And I really like that move. You start off with the initial up the line cut on the hanger, leaves acres of space in the backfield for the isolation to go for the swing. Immediately they hit the break side from the back of stack. Textbook fundamentals, it's what we've been saying all game long. That's when the separation will have to come. So the French get a crucial break. Bring the lead back to 2.
They're going to need a few more of those if they're going to get to the winning side of this contest and seal a place in the semifinals. Of course, if they get through, they will take the winner of GB in Switzerland.
Which right now looks like it's pretty definitely going to be GB. They are 12-7 up. Belgium in our other stream game are 11-5 up on Spain. But on field 1 right now, Germany and the Czech Republic have a very close match. 9-8.
Woo! It's all happening here. Quarterfinals, the elimination tank is on. And it's win or go home. And okay, you don't have to go home. You can still play your seeding match, but it feels like that, doesn't it?
There's an old Irish expression, you don't have to go home, but you can stay here.
but they actually can, but not with the same. You're going to get your personal escort out of here by Lorcan. Trombetti inside to Gasperini. Valentini. Pavan, the big man. Chicho, he goes deep. He sees his pot of a teammate far side. Girotto goes up. He comes down with the prize. It's 10-7 for the Italians.
Incredible vision. We've seen them do it before. That near sideline, far sideline send. There's so much space behind the cutters. Again, something of a consequence of the positioning that the French defenders are setting up. But it takes some exceptional throws to be able to open that up. And that is not fundamental. That is exquisite.
Exquisite, exceptional. That is refinement that comes from getting your fundamentals first and your ability to improve and upload new and little pieces of your game. I was liken it to a video game sports things where they have every competency broke down, and your fundamentals are being able to do every one of those things well. But when you're a 99 player in Madden or whatever it is, well, those individual competencies go above 75 into the 99, and that is your exquisite exceptionality, and that's what we're seeing a bit of here.
Very I think FIFA might be a bit more of an accurate one or a more relevant one to go to for our European audience. Although, of course, if you are watching from America, we've already seen one particular mischief maker in the chat. Raise your voices, or at least raise your fingers, and send us a couple of messages into the YouTube chat. Let us know where you're watching from and who you are rooting for. Because right now, Italy 10-7 up on France.
We'd love to hear you in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. You guys are doing a great job keeping that conversation rolling. There's a lot to talk about, as referenced by Lorcan and I never shutting up. Herbreto. Cheré. Now to Benvenien. Herbreto finds Chevalier. The French gonna want this hold. Cheré to Benvenien. And the Italian zone continues to fluster this French attacking unit. And this French attacking unit isn't the same as other French attacking units. They're all attacking units, and they all are called on to do the same jobs. Oh, and there's a play, but Giffard collects after the Venturoli tip. Cheré goes to Chevalier, and he tried to get around, but the long arm of Tognetti denies. Fumagalli, and Chris Red gets it right back for the French.
Economist in his ability to predict that play and get in the right position.
What a sequence. Benvenien picks up, and it's tapped into play. Fumagalli backs up on the mark. Herbreto looks up to the end zone. Benvenien cuts up line. Chevalier takes the dump space and goes right back to Herbreto, but needs a pickup. He gets it. Chevalier again looking at the wide side, doesn't go early. Back to center. Tries to get around Herbreto. Herbreto goes around. There's Chris Red. Red goes to Benvenien. Tries to give an immediate option. Benvenien keeps eyes upfield and then calls for it over the head of Venturoli, a dangerous throw to make. Red to Prior Martin. Prior Martin throws the fake to get the next cut, and then there is some contact between Cassetta and Benvenien.
Things getting a little bit crowded for the French in the end zone, going to some repeated cuts from the front of stack, and I'd like to see something a little bit more adventurous from them, a little bit more inventive.
I thought there was a miscommunication there, but Chevalier picks it up one way or the other. Cheré, high release flick to Giffard, but he can't handle it. Now Tognetti and the Italians. Venturoli back to Tognetti. Luca Tognetti gets it to Fumagalli. Tognetti up and catches it high, and again Tognetti takes a timeout. The French do not need another break against. The scoreboard might like it as far as my reference points go, but it is all Italy with the momentum even after a French break in this half.
And if you're going to use those isolation cuts from the front of stack, you've got to actually isolate the front of stack. I'd like to see those French offensive players just pull themselves back a little bit. As you saw, things got crowded more and more. They had to rely on a little moment of attempted genius with that high release flick, but no blame at all on Giffard for expecting first off the touch and then it bouncing out of his hands. It was a very difficult pass to try and corral.
So here's a quick look at the trailing edge replays, and it finishes with that, with Tognetti taking that timeout. We're going to take a short timeout too, and we will be back after these words. Don't you go anywhere. breaking the habit here, trying to ensure that Lorcan is always with us.
I'm always with you in spirit, if not always in voice. Yes, I remembered to turn it on this time, Steph. And now we're going to see if the Italians can turn it back on after that timeout break and get another break score. You know, the more I say it, the more I realize it's stupid we have the same word to describe two very different things.
Which is?
Break throw and break score. Like,
yes.
Could have come up with a better name for one of them.
Well, what's a synonym for break? Tell us in the chat.
Right now, Italy.
Yes. Either way, they're good if they're going in your favor, the score or the throw. Venturoli to Chopo. Giovanni Santucci. He's gone deep. Merlini's there. The throw looks like it's on. There's the Italians. Once again, it's Slurpee time, ladies and gentlemen. 7-11, commanding lead for the Italians.
A little bit of magic from Chopo. Santucci, I didn't know he had that in the bag. He's known for his big grabs, his defensive plays. That time showing us that he can uncork a vintage shot to the end zone. Merlini on the other end for the collection. I think that's an example.
Zani jumps off with 2 goals and 2 blocks. Girotto having a heck of a game, 3 goals on the board, but really great distribution across this team. They are making it about them, and the individual efforts are secondary.
Yeah, you really have to credit the variety of assisters. Pavan has 2, and I don't know if Pavan's someone you always associate with great throws. He's had some really nice break throws, backhands, to open up the space. And the camera loves Chopo, especially after throws like that.
And the Italian chases on. There will undoubtedly be a zone to look at. Oh, they have changed it. Let's see what the Italian defensive change does for the French. Ravo goes back to Crash, Quentin Roger. And Bouchon gets going. Crash sends the deep. Balducci coming. They're running out of field. Well read by Bouchon the first time, but can't squeeze the hand on it. Did the best parts, made the run, boxed out well, but couldn't finish the job. Oh, Combray gets a foot on it, and the Italians still getting the benefit of the doubt. Hammer to Gatti. The cat gets covered up by Roger. And a shoulder to the mouth as Gatti pivots into Roger.
How did Laffy get that disc?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of boot on that. There was a lot of Combray boot on that plastic.
I'm going to have to start calling him Taffy with how sticky those hands are after that play.
Back into play to Taffy. I mean, Laffy. Throw around Di Cristofaro. And now to Balducci. Balducci to De Cristofaro. It was after the stoppage.
Significantly after the stoppage. I think that disc is going to have to go back. Commitment is an act, not a word, Steph. And right now the French need full commitment to get this disc back and keep their hopes alive in this game.
You are not one of the slightest bits wrong.
That's a rarity.
Take him when you can get him. Balducci meets Combray. Last time they met, a boot got on that disc, but the completion still counted. Arturo Laffy lashes it deep. Gialdini versus Mate. And Kais Mate with the sideshow bob hair takes position early. And that's a D to get it back for the French.
The disc dropped at just the right time into Mate's path, but it was all about the positioning. Looked like God herself pushed that one down so Mate could get the block.
Luca Bouchon sends, it's Combray underneath, Balducci on the chase. Combray reads it very, very well. The foul called. I don't know about that. That was good boxing out. That was very good boxing out.
I'm surprised there wasn't a foul called earlier on Balducci on the previous deep shot that wound up being a turnover because of the collision that happened as he was attempting to get
Here's
around the
another
box
look.
out.
And we may have just, I mean, Combray was a full step in front. He put the arms up a little bit, but really was just holding his space while striding in front. I mean, let's if we get another look, maybe we can see if that left arm does have any pushback on it. I mean, I think he's just holding his space. That's a well-read disc.
I agree with
there's a
you,
clean
Steph.
shot
I
of
think
it.
that's, again, fundamental boxing out. Perhaps a bit of an ego call on that one.
They continue to chat. There's a lot of calming hands, a lot of people asking. We'll get some insight from the field.
And the retraction from Balducci. We've seen a good bit of that from a lot of teams. You make the call, you retract it when you realize you were wrong, and that's the way to do it. That's true spirit, because in the moment, how are you not heated with the intensity coming off this pitch right now?
Oh, yes, with what's at stake here. As we said, a win or go home. And not so many words, but elimination feels like that sometimes.
Of course, we do implore everybody to stay around and enjoy Limerick. There's a lot to see in the city.
Oh, there's going to be some parties. Combray tries to do it again just as quick. Does do it again, Monuz. And that one, after some debate, becomes very, very important for the French to go 8-11, down by 3. If that one went the other way, oh, goodness gracious.
That was an awful lot of work to have to put in to make it 11-8, though. And you got to say, all the advantages still lie with the Italians. So it'll be interesting to see what the French come out and try to do on the defensive side. We'll have to keep our eyes open. Honestly, I thought that throw was a little bit spicy. If he wasn't aiming for Roger. So I thought he'd overthrown. But in the end, he was just looking for Manuz on the other side, who gobbled it up greedily. 11-8.
11-8. We love to have you watching us live, the thousands watching live, over 1,000. It's incredible. We would love to get your genuine likes. We would love you to hit that subscribe button while you're here. I know I call this to action with frequency, but it's that important to us. It's that easy for you. It makes a big difference in how well we can continue to broadcast this wonderful sport to you. So I implore once again, hit those buttons. Thank you very much. Zani to Girotto. Girotto, the ambidextrous master, dueling it out and getting the better of Roger amidst this match. Pavan fires deep. Trombetti collects another one, and the Italians seem unstoppable right now.
And it's all about that isolation they're able to set up downfield. Fully half of the pitch, going lengthways by half, is unoccupied when a handler looks at it. Pavan was given all the space to operate with. He was under intense defensive pressure throughout the point, but because he was making those legitimate back and forth moves, each cut has to be respected, which means each change of direction is all that much harder to prepare for as a defensive player. So when the under comes, it's for a significant gain. As you can see, he's able to get it there or thereabouts under intense pressure from Bonnet.
What a play there. What a continual effort by these Italians. And what an effort by you back at home. My imploring you to like. We went from 63 to 109 in about 30 seconds there. So let's see if we can keep that pace going. There's a few hundred more of you that can just do the same thing.
And if you like to throw the disc yourself, there's no better option than Eurodisc, the perfect disc for all kinds of weather. Made in Germany, but also now in Australia and America. Eurodisc is going international, as is the European Championship. Thank you so much for all the support that you have given us, and please do show a little bit of love to our sponsors as well.
Loving you, loving this game, especially if you are an Italian supporter right now. Venturoli, sends the pull. Axel Roger to Benvenien. Chevalier. And Lorcan, we've talked a bunch about it. I will again if we get a stoppage, but the 3 balanced lines make it very difficult to shorten lines, make it very difficult to specialize in one certain task. The French now need to change things up, and these 3 lines might not be helping them.
I do think in this squeaky bum time, potentially end of your campaign situations, you got to tighten your lines. You've got to go with your best. It's all well and good having a fantastic squad and building team unity across your campaign, across this week, but when it comes down to business, who do you trust to get the deal done? And right now, France searching for a source of inspiration.
That's exactly what they need. A spark is the minimum. A spark, the absolute minimum. Axel Roger to Monuz with the bidding Laffy. Monuz sends it deep. Delal with Venturoli stealing position. And Ventu read that like a children's book.
Easily and with great enthusiasm, Venturoli was able to just skip right in front of Delal and knock it away.
Wow, Italy just won't let up. They are coming every single time of asking. Laffy. Hammer, a little guy, a little plastic toy hammer over top. De Cristofaro to Mellini. Now Fumagalli bid on the hip, but Santucci maintains. That's Stangetic coming. Laffy. Trebi. And now to De Cristofaro. De Cristofaro around to Laffy. Laffy now to Ciopo Santucci. Santucci gets it up to Venturoli. Venturoli directing traffic, asking for more cuts. Coming closer to him. De Cristofaro. Now it's Laffy. Laffy centers to De Cristofaro. Put in front for Laffy. Lots of room. Now in front for Trebi. That is another break for Italy. 13-8. Holy dooly, what is going on here?
A fatal face mark in the end zone allows the easy dish of the disc for the score. Of the Italians again just showing how great they are at moving for each other, creating space for each other. And when the French at times have seemed clogged, the Italians have been free flowing all the way down the pitch. They had a couple of opportunities to maybe load up. I remember a distinct one from Merlini as well, but they're turning them down. They don't want to take those 60-70% shots. They're happy to wait because they know a 95% option is on its way. As you can see here, there's the face mark, and it is a mistake in that situation. Laffy able to just get the sweeping backhand right around. And if you are going to face mark to that extent, you have to use your body to stop the cut to the open side because you won't be able to use anything else.
5 behind and 2 away. Laffy gives us a nice pose for the best perspective, putting his stats on the board. From a bettor's circumstance right now, it is big money betting on the French because the odds are not at all in their favor.
And if you want people to get the best perspective of you, you want to be wearing Force Ultimate apparel. Force dresses the Irish, French, and Swedish teams, our ULTI.TV crew, and the whole tournament staff and volunteer crew. They are everywhere in Europe, and they're now powering us to bring you on-screen stats.
Loving their work, loving your work from home. Keep doing your job and supporting every way you can, either us or our sponsors. Send that love out. Keep it overflowing. Combray comes under. Now back to Bouchon. And now the deep shot comes. Bouchon hoping for Combray. He's got to go. He has, no! Bobbled off the turf. Picked up with millimeters to go and ground stripped essentially as he slid.
That is a heartbreaker for the always romantic French fans. But, you know, maybe this is inviting the late game comeback, the big moments. That was so close.
And here are the Italians looking to break once again, but not this time. Bouchon picks up after the Gatti drop. The French, Bouchon breaks, Lièvre's there. The French have something small to celebrate. It's a spark. It is the first of many they're gonna need, but okay, celebrate it. You made it very difficult for yourselves, but you did get that goal on the board.
Well, in the old Irish song, they say it's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. Well, hopefully we have a long way to go still in this game. 13-9. The French are keeping it just about within grasping distance, but getting fortunate on their way there. Again, if not for that short turnover, even that deep shot in of itself was well set up, but it again reflects the challenge that they are having in gaining easy unders against this Italian defense.
There is still a lot of chat. Many Italians still in the circle with the French huddle. Gatti being escorted away by Trombetti. And all of the Italians finally leave the area.
Arrived to the line at 8.5, 49. That's it. And
A bit of a discussion.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure it's 20 seconds on the end. Yeah. That's for sure. He called 10 seconds. That's what he said. Hey, come on. You have to come down.
And here comes the pull from Roble.
Unbelievable.
Brunelli. Now to Trombetti. Valentini to Coppi. Pavan goes deep. Valentini on the chase. Yes, he's done it. What a throw by Pavan. Visionary to see it. Exquisite to throw it and pull that off.
That's about as inventive as breakthrows get. A flick instead of a hammer in the situation, and something the Italians have done 3 times now in this game is get the unders on the near sideline, pull the defensive attention over, and when you think, oh, are they going to wind up clogging the open side? No, in fact, they are opening up the break side for a leading pass / huck adjacent throw, and they have worked to perfection. When the Italians are on, is there anyone who can turn them off?
Well, I'm imagining GB is hoping they'll be able to, because that is the most likely next matchup that's going to happen here, unless France can find a magic wand to break their way to the end of this game. They're going to need a hold and 5 breaks in a row. Anything less will spell defeat and elimination from potential for gold.
As we just give you a quick update, Germany now 13-10 up on the Czech Republic. So closing in on finishing that one off. Great Britain are indeed waiting for the winner of this game after dispatching Switzerland 15-8. Belgium did the same to Spain, 15-8 the score in that one.
Belgians are right here on the sideline watching this game already, making sure they know what's up just in case they see one of these teams further down the line. They'll have to go through Germany first till they would see any one of these 2 teams in any potential.
Well, the Czechs are not out yet, so I wouldn't want to dismiss them.
I'm sorry,
out
that
of
game's
hand.
not
13-10 is the current score in that one.
Okay,
It's the other 2 games that are over. So we know GB and we know Belgium are both made their way through.
So Italians set to pull. They could put this one away with a break. It is 6 game points available for Italy right now.
That's an awful lot of game points, Steph.
That is an awful lot of game points. Chevalier to Benvenien. Roger goes around. Giffard with the disc. Forward to Benvenien. There's the leading pass. Roger with the disc. Roger around. The French look very static right now. Axel Roger to Benvenien. Now Roger picks up on a stumble. And wide and around to Benvenien. Chevalier. Axel Roger. Inside up that line. The French chipping away. Back inside to Benvenien, trying to simplify here. Giffard. Benvenien goes backwards and gets Axel Roger. Now Giffard. Red is there. The French cash in and evade elimination for the time being.
Much cleaner offense by the French, just classic 2-5 once they got to the red zone. Didn't love some of the clogging that we were seeing, forced a lot of handler movement, but they did it to great effect as they were making their way down the pitch. And then in that end zone, it was just about the handler clearing out, letting the front of stack come back to collect it, and then continue working over to the opposite side. Been a big fan of Giffard for a long time. He's very difficult to limit and such a powerhouse in the midfield for the French.
Yeah, he's been getting it done. A tough day at the office for so many of the French today. Looking at errors coming from Bouchon, Abita, Combray, Roger, Benvenien. That's just too many turnovers to account for that can be easily assessed to players to win a game of this magnitude. So, we've seen crazy things happen. They can happen, but it's not looking like it's going to. The French would need unfounded heroics from this point forward to do it. Let's see if they've got it in them, or if this is going to be Italy's trip into the semifinals. Bonnet poaches. And now it goes to Carceni. Gasperini comes under. Throw inside to Trombetti. Trombetti gets it back to Zani. Zani. Gasperini to Contini. And he has to struggle to keep that one in hands. Scuba over top. Oh! Trombetti coughs one up. And here's a chance.
It all starts with a single step. Steph.
And a little bit of a violation because Robles was 3 or 4 meters behind, and the Italians insist on giving him 3 meters. Back in play, Bonnet gets Giffard underneath with the single leg sleeve. Now Bonnet to Roger, who picks it up. Pick called. Sounds like it's going to go back.
Just want to take this opportunity to point out to everybody, it's now 13-12 in the Germany game. So that was 13-10. The Czechs fighting their way back into it, perhaps.
Wow. Don't count them out. Czech Republic gonna fight for this one. France, Bonnet wide and over top with the pop pass. That's gonna go back again. Roger throws back to Bonnet. Carceni lets it go to ground as It wasn't for him. I thought one he might have caught and helped get there. Bonnet, inside break to Roger. Roger looking for something. It feels like he wants to go big, but he goes into the dump space. Mate had Combray coming under, but now to Bonnet. Giffard with the disc, fakes the overtop, now to Bonnet. Mate, and I think we have finally got a power line on for France. Bonnet. Inside to Robles. Robles to Lièvre. Oh, Bonnet keeps it alive. And now Roger inside. There's a goal. That's a break. That's 2 in a row. What more do they got in their bag of tricks to come out of this game? I think they're going to need to leave some of these power players on the field at minimum.
Well, you said go big earlier in that point, and it's either that or go home at this point. As the French, again, showing some really great fundamentals, some nice basic swings, and then attacking the mark with their throws, trusting the isolation off the front of Stack. Very effectively done in this instance. They got a little bit lucky, shall we say, with that turnover earlier on. I thought the scooper was good, but here you can see how quickly they swing. And then this is more or less a break, but it's a straight line throw to a break cut, and that's what you get when you complete those full width pitch swings. You open up easier break throws for your cutters.
Yeah, that's it. The break lane just widens right up. And Roger kind of fell back into his pivot there, hit the ground, and that made it even wider of an opening to the break side. The French mixed team becoming very vocal on the far sideline. Bleu, blanc, rouge, as they call. Zani collects the pull. French on the chase. Oh, Axel Roger was very, very close. There's the deep shot. This could be the game, but it's too far in front. And the French get another chance, Lorcan.
And this is what happens, we said, when the Italians are on. Can anybody turn them off? And right now it seems like they're almost slipping themselves. That was an undercooked deep shot to an incredibly open Pavane. With that kind of a matchup, you would have pretty comfortably hung it up there for him to take it down. Trying to go a bit more direct in that instance, and they give the disc back to the French.
Yeah, there was Pavane versus Bonnet would have been an excellent air battle. We all would have loved. But overshooting it just shows that they're feeling this pressure, and it's another chat about the mettle it takes to close out a game. A lead will not do. You need to put the finishing touches, and the French are just not letting them do that yet. Herbreton to Mate, who collects in his own end. Now he goes around and gets Roger. Wind up, and now Mate again. Mate throws to Delal, and there is some discussion coming from Gasperini.
French keeping things simple with this vertical stack. It's a little spread out right now, so they'll need to clean it up.
Delal. Robles does a job to keep that one up and off the turf. Now he gets Herbreton. Bonnet comes in and fills. Bonnet to Herbreton. A lot of traffic, widen around to Roger. Axel Roger throws to Mate. Mate inside, Quentin Roger. Pavane slow to get up, and now it's on to Axel Roger. Delal gets it to Roger. Now Bonnet with a bit on his hip. Into Herbreton. Herbreton trying to isolate. Looked at two Roger brothers, but then gets Mate. Quick to Roger. There, down to Bonnet. Another break. That's 3 in a row now. The French will not let them win, but there's a travel on the field. Roger called for the continued footwork. Let's have a look and see if we see it.
I think I'm just going to have to try and interpret Luca Contini's reenactment. As you have a look at him there in the very colourful hat. She's just talking about how gaining the extra advantage from the step away and throw. I really like that move by Bonnet. Gets the nice inside, takes off towards the stack, and then angles his cut back to the front corner.
Now to Roger. Now inside. Mate is there. Oh, and he looked away before his hands were clapped. Wow, that one hurts.
But will it be fatal, Steph?
Well, the Italians will determine that as they pick up and walk it to the line. Zani throws in to Gasperini. Now Pavan. Off the line, gets it to Valentini. And now to Zani. Zani gets the gainer, Girotto. Girotto, low to Pavan. Inside, Gasperini. Gas goes to Coppi. Coppi high, Pavan. Takes with one hand. Udelal tries to get around Gasperini. Gasperini throws for goal. That one's up. The foot is down. The Italians have pulled off the unthinkable and eliminated the French. They're moving on to the semifinals. Luca Valentini with the game-winning goal.
Incredible stuff by the Italians, working it down that open side the entire way, almost looking like some old school revolver offense from the early 2010s, the way they just kept isolating a single cutter, fake one way with authority, turn with deception and get free on the under, and then so a lot of the times when they caught it, they weren't then immediately looking downfield, but rather looking, if they were near enough to the sideline, to pop it back into the middle of the pitch to set up another one of those big isolation unders further down the field. Incredibly executed on the second time of asking, and I have to tell you, Steph, deservedly going through to the semi-final.
Absolutely deserved. They are looking very good. They'll be feeling great taking on the Brits, and we'll see how that all shapes up. So 15-11, a decisive victory for the Italians. A French comeback, a bit of a resistance, allowing themselves not to lose for some time there. But in the end, it's the Italians who get this job done. So we've got Arturo Laffi in the booth with us.
Right there like that, yeah.
And we're going to have him ask him a couple questions, pull our heads under the tarp here. Laffi, first of all, you've just won the quarterfinal. You're moving on to the semi. You're going to play, we'll talk about that later. How does it feel to win this game and move on to the semifinal?
It actually feels amazing. I'm really proud of my team. I think we played the game we set to play, so we actually kept our mind on the plan, on as we wanted to let them play, and so I'm really happy for that. And it's the first time Italian Open national team is getting into the top 4, so just happiness, I think, and joy, and all the practice, all the effort you put into it during the year is finally something you can touch.
Amazing. We normally see you playing with La Fota. You're often an O-liner. You're playing with the D-line for the Italian national team. You're captaining the D-line. It was the D-line who won this game. Tell us what it's like to be playing on the D-line and leading to victory from the other side of the fight.
I'm having fun. First of all, I'm having fun, and it's a bit different. It's like different responsibilities. It's more about working after the turnover and at the beginning just work for the disc, but it's fun. And I started playing with Pingu and Gatti on the D line of Red Bulls back in the day, so it's just coming back home.
Going back to your roots. I think Lorcan's got a question there for you too.
Well, I just noticed you start off with an assassination in the zone, trying to take out Roger, but sometimes you switch back to a standard zone. So what was the strategy behind the different defensive shapes you threw at the French?
So our defensive strategy was based on their switching between lines. So we had a D strategy for each of their line, and so with Roger on the field was trying to keep him away from the disc. With other was a zone. With other one just one man-to-man strong defense.
Well, fantastic, and a great way to react. So really doing your homework. And now, the first time you've ever made the top four, a huge deal for Italy. Awaiting you in the semi-final as a reward, I guess, is the powerhouse of European Ultimate, Great Britain. Do you have any plans for taking them down yet?
They won during the power pool, so for the low of the big numbers, maybe it's time for us to win that game. But we'll see.
All right. Optimism out of the Italians. Congratulations to Arturo Laffi and his team. You can go celebrate for now, but you better make sure you get ready quick. You got another one coming soon.
Ciao.
Thanks to Laffi for being with us in the booth. We'll have a quick look at the stats from this game. Lorcan, what do those say to you?
Well, I think it shows you just how lethal the Italians were. We're seeing, on average, a conversion rate of about 50% by D-lines in this tournament in close games, or certainly in critical ones. 2/3 of their break opportunities converted to go along with 7 clean holds. And if you're capable of doing maths, that means they were able to get clean holds on just under 80% of their offensive possessions. That's absolutely incredible. And I think that goes back to how well they executed the fundamentals, how brilliantly they constantly created space for each other. So this is one of those games I think offensive coaches can go back to time and time again and show their team, here's how you work together. Here's what it means to make a cut for somebody else. And that vitality, that life that you breathe into your offense by working hard so that you give other people the opportunity to get the disc and get the glory is why Italy Open are entering the top 4 of the Euros for the first time in their nation's proud history.
What an effort by the Italians, overcoming the seedings, overcoming any resistance by the French. The French had a great tournament, and they're now gone because the Italians got it done at the right time. We're happy to have brought that game to you. We're delighted you're always here with us. Stay with us, like, subscribe, do all those great things. We got more action coming up. France, GB in the women's division on this field next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.